Today, questions and answers. I have not really done a video with questions and answers. Some of those questions, I can't answer everything, but I thought today I would kind of go through some of the best questions I've got. Some I've answered, some I've not. A lot of you know that if you ask me a question in the comments, I usually respond. So today what I want to do is I'm going to go to my comment section and I want to talk about some of the things that people have asked me about. Let's just start off with the first question. My wife and I are coming on a lifestyle visit in November of 2024, coming up. What villages do you think our agent will be previewing at that time? I think the agent will do whatever you want. They're going to ask you probably some simple questions. Do you want to look at pre-owned homes? Do you want to look at some new homes? Do you have any idea about the square footage? What type of home? Have you heard anything about the different neighborhoods? The more you come into the villages on a lifestyle visit and kind of know what you want to just check out because of whatever you perceive from YouTube videos or anything like that would be helpful. Because I don't think the agents don't really, they just want to show you how nice it is in the villages. And I found a lot of people that do the lifestyle visit concentrate on the lifestyle. They get into the home that they provide with the golf cart and the bicycles, and they do activities. And I think that's what sells the villages. It's not about coming here like a timeshare and somebody's going to usher you around and then hard sell you. That's really not what happens. But I'm with you. I would like to see some homes. I would like to kind of get an idea. The problem is for me, when I came here first time and saw some homes, and I saw one pre-owned home that the villages agents were selling, I saw probably 3 different homes. None of them thrilled me. None of them were like, oh, I got to buy this. Some of them was just getting used to like how close the homes were. That's another comment I get a lot of. And it's hard to envision empty homes with people in them. And it's the village area, or when you buy a new home that's being built with other homes, it changes dramatically once everybody starts moving in. And then all the shrubs and everything get bigger and people put in their own. So I've gone along on this short, this quick answer. It really is up to you if you're visiting, but I would spend a certain amount of time on the lifestyle stuff, clubs, rec centers, pools, golf cart riding around, all of those things. But I would also balance it with some visits. But you're just trying to get a handle of what it's like because you're trying to make that bigger decision. Could you move here? Could it be something you could live with? And I think the first time here, yeah, you got to kind of see different areas and what styles and what price ranges you're interested in. So, one question down. Let's try a different question on golf carts. Michael put, the prices of new golf carts are jaw-dropping. Simply jaw-dropping with only 2-year warranties. Easily find reasonable price used reconditioned carts. I'm going to tell you that used reconditioned carts that are relatively new, 2 or 3 years old, cost almost the same as a brand new golf cart. Almost the same. And when I say the same, you're going to save $2,000 maybe? To me, $2,000 compared to a brand new one, not a reconditioned or a used one, I don't find that as a big deal. The other part that people kind of forget, golf carts in the villages are not your standard golf cart that you see on a golf course in the Northeast. The windshields are different. There's more features. There's directional. The lighting is better on the carts. A lot of upgrades to seats, canopies for when you're in the rain. It's a vehicle for you. So there's a lot of add-ons. People add on, if they buy an electric cart, a bigger battery. So the cost goes up with the more things that you add that are tailored to the villages. I actually had a golf cart salesperson tell me I would be better off to buy in the villages for a villages golf cart that has all the features that you should have in the villages versus a typical golf cart that is in a smaller community that doesn't need range, doesn't need a lot of things that a villages golf cart's running on pavement and it's just going from place to place. Different environment. Now, the manufacturers haven't really made golf carts strictly tailored to the villages because a lot of golf carts they don't go as fast. They don't want them on golf carts to go fast on golf courses. So it does seem like a lot of money. And yes, you can probably find some very old golf carts for $5,000, $6,000, but you're getting a very old cart. This is no different than kind of buying cars in the used market. You end up with older ones, don't have quiet tech. It's really insulation around the motor. If you get a gas-powered one, they're noisier on some models, quieter on others. All of these things make a difference if you're spending a lot more time in the golf cart than just what you would possibly use it not being in the villages. And I say that because in the villages, I spent 4 hours plus in my golf cart yesterday in 95-degree weather. Got lost a couple of times in the villages. Never once worried about getting back home because I have a gas golf cart that has a big range. Now, I'm not dishing electric carts. They have some great ranges too that you can buy the bigger battery. But my point is it goes to the cost. The bigger battery, watt hour that you get with them, you pay more. So it doesn't take long to figure out golf carts cost a lot of money, and I agree. One guy said, I can get a whole decked out golf cart for the same price as a Ford Maverick truck, and you probably can. He's probably right. So it is ridiculous, but if you're buying into that you're going to use the golf cart for 5 to 10 years here, and you divide that up by each year, you couldn't really rent it for a month each year for what you would pay brand new. So I hope I answered that question. It is ridiculous, but it's something that you got to really deal with. I get these comments quite a bit, and I struggle at comments like this that when they talk 5 reasons to move. Frank here put no quality and shoddy materials, black roofs, laminated countertops, overpriced building materials, and too many fees. I don't think there's too many fees. If you look at other 55 communities, usually the fees are a lot higher than our amenity fee. We don't have an HOA fee. We do have a district fee that's tacked on at the end of the year, like with our property taxes. But I don't think we have too many fees. Not for what you get. Not for the extensive bike pass, golf cart pass, golf courses that you can use, executive ones that are basically included in your fee. There's a lot of things, the rec centers, the pool tables. Some of the rec centers have arcade games, shuffleboard, all of that stuff's available to you. So when I look at the fees, no, there are not too many fees. Building workmanship. Well, you can have a home upgraded to your liking if you decide to purchase a lot, pick the style of home, and pick each of the upgrades. You can make it a much better home. They have switched a lot of the newer homes from laminated, some laminated, to the Corian type countertops. So they've gone to some upgrades, but with that comes cost. And I don't think the houses are that cheaply made. They're well insulated. I'm surprised at my utility bills for air conditioning. I'm surprised that my maintenance costs after 3 years are minimal, are really minimal in a brand new home. I don't see it as shoddy. I don't see it as one of the things that people think shoddy because they make so many. So there's definitely, the Villages makes money. I think people purchasing make out because the homes are built uniformly and there's certain models they build. And I think there's a benefit to the builder by constructing it this way. Yeah, it doesn't have all of the fancy stuff, but you could get it if you wanted, but you'd be paying more in the Villages. Clearly some of the style and some of the finishings of older homes, I don't think are necessarily better. Now, could you have better things, better faucets, better sinks? Sure. And you can upgrade those. A lot of people do, but I don't see it as a bigger deal. I did get some interesting comments on my market update of the Villages. Very surprising in an economy, in a market where everybody's talking about high interest rates and homes being built, where a lot of the comments are like prices are dropping, the number of homes on the market. Let me just give you my quick summary for people who are waiting for the drop. I don't see the drop coming. If anything, new homes in new areas, the homes may be going up slightly compared to what they were before, but the cost to build the infrastructure in the new areas is adding to the bond costs. And everybody knows this. Bonds used to be $20,000, and then south of 44, they turned into $30,000. Then going into Lake County, south of 44, they started being $40,000. And I'm hearing in the new areas south of the Turnpike, we're getting close to $50,000 on a bond. If you don't know what a bond is, the bond is the amount that's shared by all the people or properties in a village district when it's built. It's the infrastructure of the wastewater pipes, the water pipes, the drainage, the roadways, all of that goes in for that one time. As the builder builds that, they do an overall cost and they share it by houses and size lots, and everybody gets kind of coded into this chart. And so if you have a bond, it's like, let's just use $50,000. If it's $50,000, they do a 30-year mortgage rate onto the 50. So the 50 is going to end up costing you $70,000. I'm just throwing that out there in interest. You can pay it off immediately when you purchase the property, or you can pay it off annually, and they'll give you a rate of how much that will be tacked onto your tax bill. So you could have $1,000 or $2,000 a year tacked onto your tax bill to pay for that initial bond. And there's other videos, and I've done videos on whether to pay it off or whether to just let it go and be the infrastructure so when you sell, the next person picks it up. Those are all up to you. But that's where the price increases are going to come in the next homes. And I see the bonds going up. And Construction costs. Construction costs have gone up since COVID. Clearly there was a shortage of materials. Then there was higher costs for labor and all the rest. So clearly houses are going up. They're not going down. And the market tells me this too. The Villages in the second quarter of 2024 sold more homes than the second quarter of 2023. So they sold more. Be alert to that. The market may not be going down. There may be coming another boom to move in because so many people are getting to the retirement age or have been at retirement age and now considering moving to the Villages. So there's still a demand for this kind of lifestyle. Whether you like this lifestyle or not, that's kind of what's happening. Some people have asked me about Eastport area, moving there, waiting. Should they wait to go to Eastport? Should they wait for the Villages? And if you saw my ride around in a golf cart, and I just put it together quickly, and it wasn't extensive like some other viewers were hoping that it would be more extensive and more GPS and exactly where I was. I will just say down there, they're building in little sections, and then it's all cleared and dirt, and some of us have referred to it like the desert or where they're putting in pipes for the next, and they're not like doing it in a row. They're like pockets. And I don't know the method to the madness there, but they're doing different sections and people are buying them. People are buying them and moving in, and there's just not as many people around down there. There still isn't any kind of major town square. Even Middleton's not really done yet. It's going to be like a downtown. Middleton is a section that's not really part of the Villages, but it's a community the Villages built for anyone, not just 55 plus. But they're going to have a downtown, a grocery store, all of that stuff. That's not in yet. So when you move down there, you're definitely going to feel a little bit out by yourself. They put in the pools and the rec centers, but my point is that if you're waiting for Eastport, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Definitely, it's not ready. It's not close. 2 years? At least 2 years. I'm saying 2 years before you even get to go in. And even when some of these places open up, the stores aren't full, the stores are empty. There's going to be a period of time where limited stuff is happening. So Eastport's a ways off, and all of the housing around there is a little bit sporadic, and I don't know if it's based on the people interested in purchasing. So if you came down here and said, I was interested, but I want this kind of lot and this kind of house, and I'm willing to spend this kind of money, you might get a priority. Because I do think there are areas which are going to be more custom homes, more lots that you can buy. You buy the lot and then you figure out what you're going to do on that lot with what type of house, what type of pool. If you're into doing that, you want to be in early because you want to be able to buy that preferred lot before somebody else does. You want to get that lot and figure out and have time to do it. Now, once you start that process, you got to lock down a lot of, you can't drag out payment. It's going to happen relatively quickly. I think new bills like that, you buy the lot, I think you have 3 months to lock down the design and what it's going to look like, and you've got other payments. And it's not something like you can buy a lot and wait 2 years and then build on it. That's not how it works. But I would say if you're ready and you really know what you want and you can do it ahead of time, that's what I would do. I did have this great question. Can you provide year-over-year sales comparison by house models, veranda, villa, etc.? And my answer was no. The Villages doesn't put out any kind of report based on style or sales of homes individually. And one of the complications there is the Villages builds like villas all at once in a section. And so when they release those, it would kind of inflate the numbers depending on what you looked at, because right next to it might be cottage homes, there might be designer homes. So they pre-plan an area of types of homes. And then some that they sell lots for you to customize your designer home. They're even allowing now customization of some cottage homes. So they have allowed people to say, I want to buy this lot and I want a cottage home or a designer home, and customize it. But going back to this question, like what's more popular, what is no. And the other part I've mentioned in a previous video, when they put together a area, let's say cottage homes or designer homes, they plan out models not to be similar, or they don't want the lanai facing your neighbor, or they strategically plan these out so the different models match up against other models. So there's a privacy factor. Even with the houses with smaller lots, they strategically put them. And I explained it this way. My lanai is straight off the back of my house. My neighbor is on a corner lot. He's facing kind of the corner or the other road. I can't see his lanai at all. My neighbor beside me, house is shorter. The lanai is kind of on my side wall where my bathroom and one bedroom can't really see them. And if I'm on my lanai, because of how my bedroom wall goes, they can't see me and I can't see them. So the privacy factor works really well on the houses side by side. Now, depending if you have a row of homes behind you, how they situate those homes will depend as well. But I noticed the home right behind me, the lanai is on the side of their house, not directly. So we're not sitting on a lanai and the next person over is looking on their lanai looking at us. There's space like that. So it's a little something they do that truly works. Now, when you get into a area in which you're buying the lot and everybody's picking what type of home, I don't know if they suddenly go, well, your neighbor's going to be looking right at you, or that's what you wanted, that's what you got. But buying into the pre-built sections, they definitely strategically place the homes. So going back to the question, I don't think they favor one model over the other because it sells differently. They favor putting different models that work for the neighborhood. And it's hard to believe, but that's one of the things that I quickly found out once I moved here. Because when I went to visit model homes, I didn't like the homes being close or seeing my neighbor. But I never really looked at it as, where is their lanai? Would I be right directly sitting on top of them or not? Most cases, no. And now they build a lot with fences in between. So I think you'll find that very helpful. A lot of people like the fences because they have pets, dogs. They can let them run loose in the backyard. That's a different situation. I don't have any fences, so I don't have any fence maintenance or questions about using a fence. And actually, I'm kind of glad I don't have a fenced in. I don't feel blocked in, and I don't mind seeing my neighbors at this point. Everybody seems okay, so that's a good thing. Somebody asked me a really interesting, Wayne asked me a really good question, and I really had to do some thought about it. He asked me, I love my videos, very informative, but he asked, how many years before I retired did you buy in the Villages? This is a tricky question because what works for me might not work for you, and everyone's situation is different. But there's a lot of people who start looking before they're retired. And if you're in that situation, do you purchase it like a second home? Do you have enough equity that you can afford 2 full-size homes? Or do you want a vacation home that's a little smaller? This plays into whether you might move again in the future or whether you're testing it out. And I think for me, the answer to the question on retirement is I was close to retirement. I actually thought I was going to retire a year earlier, and I purchased 2 years before that time frame. Turns out I didn't retire, and it took 3 years before I fully moved in. But I decided not to downsize as a smaller home, but buy a good size home, but not a huge home, because I'm going to retire. And I don't need a lot of square footage to maintain. So I picked a home that I thought could work for the long term. That also helped me with a lot of other decisions on whether to pay off the bond. It helped me with a lot of other decisions. But his question's very good, because I think some people buy early and they buy villas and they're small and they realize they're too small after some time. But they're great for vacations and if you want to rent it out while you're not here because you're still working and not retired or moving here. Hope you saw the glitch. It was the camera stopped. I had to stop. But the question was a really good one. How long before you retire? I think it's a financial question. This is a controversial one I've gotten in some trouble with, but I'm going to wing it. A person was concerned about short-term rentals, a deterrent for the community. It's gotten so bad that they're thinking of relocating. This is a tricky question because just like in my answer in the last one, if people buy way ahead of time and decide that they want to buy it now, rent it, and do short-term rentals, it is an option for them. It's not restricted that you can't do it. And those homes are typically villas. There's probably more smaller homes that fit that criteria that work well as an incoming producing property. Many of the communities that are like designer homes, you don't find too many of the rentals. They'll be in there. There won't be. Cottage home sizes, which are in between, you're going to find some. And I answered it this way. I have one across the street from me, which so far has been fine. Short-term rental, hardly anybody ever is there, and when they are, it's short-term. It's like, and it's not like they're renting the place to party there. They're renting the place to do day trips and other things. I have another one 2 streets over. Haven't heard any complaints by anybody. I know the owner, and so it hasn't bothered me anywhere near to move. I think that's... Now, situation could be different. I could be bad next to a bad renter who rents to anybody, and it's a bad situation. The other thing in the villages, though, if it's seasonal, like in the winter when people really desire, they pay a lot. It's not the typical, like, inexpensive rentals. In the winter, people are getting, like, crazy money, $6,000 a month to rent. I call that crazy money, but it's what they get if you wanted a 1-month rental. Others are getting $125, $150 a day. These compete with hotels that you could be closer to something that you're trying to get to. I don't think the attraction is the villages itself. In some cases, short-term rentals are for people who are looking to move here permanently, and they're looking to test it out. And I don't think those are bad neighbors either. So I struggle with this question. I think a lot of it is what people read on Facebook and those kind of things. Check it out. I would check it out. Now, I get it. There are people who move into a neighborhood that there's a golf cart path that's right next to them that drives them crazy. They got to move. Or the houses and how the location, they just don't like it. It's not for them. I had some people move into a very well-known, popular, everybody wanted to live in Richmond. And one person wrote in my comments, they moved there, but it just wasn't them. And they moved to another village and they love it. They love it. And the demand for being in Richmond was so great, they could sell it for way more than what they paid for. And they moved to another village that is quieter. They got a pool with the proceeds of what they made from that house. This is not going to happen for everybody who moves here, but there are a lot of reasons for moving. And I don't think the rental thing is any more than anywhere else. You got rentals in regular neighborhoods, forget the villages, that happen all the time. I don't think it's turning into super rentals, but there is a big market here that they only use the home in the winter and they're going to rent in the summer. Or I do think there's a big percentage of homes that some people, they're going to take that income if they are not going to use the home. Well, I'm going to stop the video here. I think it's probably long enough. I've answered a few questions. Hope you enjoyed this video, even with the glitch of the camera stopping. Hopefully I can make this into something that you enjoy. And if you think I should do more questions and answers, tell me in the comments. Just write down in the comments that, yeah, you'd like to see more of these. You found it informative and useful. Look forward to seeing you in the villages.